beauty of it for a split second before her gaze turned back to the bay window, which had a perfect view of the fruit paddocks behind the house. Outside, there were fruit trees as far as the eye could see, beneath netting that had been expensively erected a few years back to stop the birds and the bats eating the crops. Mother Nature was already hard at work, as bees buzzed industriously around the fruit flowers, doing their job of helping the fruit set, while sunshine kissed the flowers, helping produce the future mango and lychee crops. She smiled as she watched a kangaroo go bounding through the backyard with its joey in tow, relieved to not see Duke, her beloved dog, chasing them for a bit of fun. Sarah dragged her gaze away from the window and pulled on her regular work gear of jeans and a Bond singlet, before tipping her head upside down and ruffling her fingers quickly through her mane of platinum blonde curls. People said they matched her personality, bouncy, free-spirited, and full of life. Brushes were her worst nightmare. She just ended up looking like she had put her finger in an electrical socket. Maybe in the 80s it would have been a fashionable look, but not now. Sarah had worked on the family fruit farm since she had left school. The Clarkes had 800 hectares and employed over 80 staff in the fruit-picking season. The family business pumped out over 3,000 tons of mangoes, lychees, and Chinese longans every year. It was a good life in all. Sarah worked really hard for 6 months during harvesting, and then got to work at a nice pace the rest of the year when the main jobs were just pruning, slashing, watering, and fertilizing the crops. She loved the time she spent in her John Deere tractor. It was a cruisy job, sitting in an air-conditioned cab with country tunes blaring from the stereo as she drove up and down each drill, feeding the crops to produce a massive harvest. Her 2 older brothers, Peter and Daniel, worked on the farm alongside her dad, Jack. Sarah had always worked as hard as the men in the family, but she constantly felt like she had to try harder than her brothers to get appreciation from her dad. She knew deep down that her father worshipped her like flowers worshipped sunlight, but he had a tough exterior and didn't show his emotions too freely. Sarah blamed his time in prison for that. When Sarah was a baby, Jack had been caught growing marijuana. He'd been farming tobacco and had a bad crop for a few years running. With the naive confidence of youth, he thought growing illegal drugs might get him through the hard times. He couldn't bear to lose the family farm that had been handed down through 2 generations. Jack had never even smoked pot, but had used his skills as a farmer to grow a massive, thriving crop. But then he was caught red-handed, arrested, and locked up in Townsville maximum security for 5 long years as an example to the community. Sarah knew it must have been a hard time for her mum, Maggie, especially with 3 young children, and Jack still lived with the guilt of not having been there for his family. Sarah didn't have time for anybody stupid enough to touch drugs, especially marijuana. She knew how much it could hurt people's lives. "Sarah!" Maggie yelled from the bottom of the stairs. "Lily's on the phone for you, love." Sarah raced down the stairs, tripping over Harry, the family cat of 9 years, on the way down. "Do you always have to sleep right in the middle of the stairs, Harry?" Sarah asked him once she had found her footing after sliding down 3 steps. Harry looked up at her, yawned, and went back to sleep. The only thing that got him moving was the sound of his canned sardines being spooned into his dish. Sarah grabbed the phone from her mum, kissing Maggie on the cheek. "Morning, Mum." She put the phone to her ear and scrunched her shoulder up to hold it while she zipped up her jeans with her free hands. "Hey, Lily, how are you, mate?" Lily's voice sang cheerfully into the receiver. "Great, Sarah. Almost your birthday. Hey, I just wanted to know what time we're going to head down to the rodeo tomorrow." Sarah sat her bum down on the bottom step of the stairs. "Daniel's going to be out in the arena about 5-ish, so I'd like to be there to watch him give those bulls a good go."